My name is Muhammad Saidi Ibrahim. I am from BNS student. Today I want presentation are about advertised distance, feasible distance. Advertised distance and feasible distance, dual uses distance information, known as a metric or cost, to select efficient, loop-free paths. The lowest cost route is calculated by adding the cost between the next hop router and the destination, referred to as the advertised distance, to the cost between the local router and the next hop router. The sum of these costs is referred to as the feasible distance. Advertised distance versus feasible distance. The advertised distance is the AIGRP metric for an AIGRP neighbor router to reach a particular network. This is the metric between the next hop neighbor router and the destination network. The feasible distance is the AIGRP metric for this router to reach a particular network. This is the sum of the advertised distance for the particular network learned from an AIGRP neighbor, plus the AIGRP metric to reach that neighbor, the cost between this router and the next hop router. A router compares all feasible distances to reach a specific network in its topology table. The route with the lowest feasible distance is placed in its SIP routing table. This is the successor route. The feasible distance for the chosen route becomes the AIGRP routing metric to reach that network in the routing table. Examples. For example, in figure, routers A and B send their routing tables to router C, whose tables are shown in the GURE. Both routers A and B have paths to network 10.1.1.0/24, among many others, that are not shown. The routing table on router A has an AIGRP metric of 1000 for 10.1.1.0/24. Therefore, router A advertises 10.1.1.0/24 to router C, with a metric of 1000. Router C installs 10.1.1.0/24 from router A in its CIGRP topology table with an add of 1000. Router B has network 10.1.1.0/24 with a metric of 1500 in its SIP routing table. Therefore, router B advertises 10.1.1.0/24 to router C with an advertised distance of 1500. Router C places the 10.1.1.0/24 network from router B in the AIGRP topology table with an advertised distance of 1500. Router C in the figure has two entries to reach 10.1.1.0/24 in its topology table. The AIGRP metric for router C to reach either router A or B is 1000. This cost, 1000, is added to the respective advertised distance from each router, and the results represent the feasible distances that router C must travel to reach network 10.1.1.0/24. Router C chooses the least cost feasible distance, 2000, and installs it in its SIP routing table as the best route to reach 10.1.1.0/24. The AIGRP metric in the routing table is the best feasible distance from the AIGRP topology table. Passive routes versus active routes. A route is considered passive when the router is not performing recomputation on that route. A route is active when it is undergoing recomputation, in other words, when it is looking for a new successor. Note that passive is the operational, stable state. If feasible successors are always available, a destination never has to go into the active state, thereby avoiding a recomputation. A recomputation occurs when the current route to a destination, the successor, goes down and there are no feasible successors for the destination. The router initiates the recomputation by sending a query packet to each of its neighboring routers. If the neighboring router has a route for the destination, it will send a reply packet. If it does not have route, it sends a query packet to its neighbors. In this case, the route is also in the active state of the neighboring router. While the destination is in the active state, a router cannot change the routing table information for the destination. After router has received a reply from each neighboring router, the topology table entry for the destination returns to the passive state. Each router then examines its CIGRP topology table and determines the best route and other feasible routes to every destination network. A router compares all feasible distances to reach a SPCC network and then selects the route with the lowest feasible distance and places it in the routing table. This is the successor route. The feasible distance for the chosen successor route becomes the IGR routing metric to reach that network in the routing table.